my screen. So I believe we should be live soon. Right, wait, is the chat? Evan, no, not until after the meeting's over. Lord. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Senate 16. Today is March 1st, and I am Vinny D'Amato, chair of the BU Senate. Going through, or actually roll call, I always mess up that order. All right, so starting off with roll call. First off, Savannah Majarwitz.
Here.
Wait, we're doing the thing today. Let me pull that up quickly. So, all right, so thanks everyone who did the question last week. This week's question, just so you all know, is in the last year, what is a new skill that you have picked up or are working on? And today, answering that question, Dhruv Kapadia, Samyu Guan, Mahan Noor, Amy Luo, and Selena Chen. So when I call on you guys in roll call, just answer the question. So now starting off, Savannah Majarwitz.
Wait, sorry. Am I just saying here, or am I answering?
Yeah, you're just saying here. I just restarted
here.
just for formality's sake. Evan Toplensky.
Here.
Achilles Stone.
Here.
Proxy for Bella Noel.
Here.
Dhruv Kapadia.
Here. And the skill that I've been working on since like basically the start of quarantine is painting. I don't know if you can like see the two things behind me. It might be flipped because of Zoom, but like those were just two things I painted at the start of quarantine.
Oh, that's awesome.
I got pretty bored and I find it relaxing. So that's the skill.
That's amazing. All right. Hassan Faruqi.
Here.
Janez James.
Here.
Jessica Zhang.
Present.
Spencer Kwan.
Present.
Lauren Hagee.
Present.
Navia Katuru.
Here.
Shahaf Dan.
Here.
Sui Muowo.
Here.
Vivian Dai.
Here.
Samyu Guan.
Here. And one thing that I've always done was like play ukulele, but I kind of picked it up over quarantine. So now I'm just working on composing music more.
Awesome. Yes. I want to hear something sometime.
Of course.
Brandon Yu.
Here.
Richard Siegelman.
Here.
William Harrison.
Present.
Amanda Schneider.
Present.
Olivia Herr.
Here.
Sophie Jin.
Here.
Owen Kelly.
Here.
Maha Noor.
Here, and I think my skill would probably be embroidery, just because my mom does it a lot, so I just kind of picked it up from her. I've been trying to do some over quarantine.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh my God. I love that. Shireen Bakrai.
Here.
Cassidy Balboa.
Here.
Proxy for Joanna Shie.
Here.
Noah Greif.
Here.
Amy Luo.
Here. And I would say a weird skill that I've picked up is definitely like knowing how to open doors and like push buttons now with anything other than like my hands, like using my feet and like elbows and stuff.
Something we never expected to learn, but you are now a pro at. That is amazing. Michael Leone.
Here.
Jaylene Ramirez. Jaylene Ramirez. Selena Chen.
Here. And a new skill that I picked up, more like a hobby, but is just to like read for pleasure and read outside of like the readings I do for class. And yeah.
Cool. Favorite book series or book that you've picked up?
I've been reading this one book lately. I forget the title. It's Where the Crawdads Sing, but it's really good. And I'm almost done with it.
Awesome. That is amazing. Love a good book. Matali Keslawal,
Here.
Jay Haljan,
Here.
Brianna Cole,
Here.
Mehar Hora,
Here.
John Michael Aracena,
Here.
Isabella Townsend, you're here? I think I see you. I just don't know if I heard you. Isabella
Yeah.
Townsend?
She's here.
Okay.
Yes, present. Sorry.
Samantha Casas,
Present.
Celine Machin,
Here.
Shayna Evans,
Here.
Keely Massini,
Here.
and Juliana Torres.
Here.
All right, so with that, we have 41 people here in attendance. We have 28 votes for a supermajority, 21, for a simple majority. All right, so going through the agenda for today, we have the president's address, some budget updates, Divest BU, which is Senate Resolution 17, and then open forum. So, Mr. President, the floor is yours. And once again, a big happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for singing happy birthday. That was super nice. Okay, just a couple of things for today. The first thing, I said this last week in my presidential address, but wanted to reiterate it. We're going to be partnering with BU Admissions to highlight student organizations on campus. Vinny, I just sent you a link. But if you want your college government, to be highlighted as well, feel free to fill out that Google form. Vinny just put it into the chat, so thank you. Elections are underway, so more information. Maybe Daniel will say something at the end on behalf of SCC about it, but stay tuned on your social media and especially on BU Student Government's social media as we begin to unfold elections for the next 26 days. Next thing is that last week we got a question about the Campus Activities Board. So in 2018, the Campus Activities Board was considered, paid SAO student employees, which made it hard for them to lead the initiative independent of administrative oversight. But today, CAB, so the Campus Activities Board, is a volunteer group of students with an SAO advisor. So this puts the control of the assets back in the hands of the students. That SAO advisor is Margaret Babson. So I can get her email for you and put it into the chat. But Margaret, if you're looking to get involved, which, totally up to you, definitely reach out to Margaret. I know they're looking for more people to be involved in this. Yeah. And then going back to elections, so we have one at-large party that is registered, but SCC, this is on behalf of SCC, this note will be extending the at-large deadline until March 12th. So if you're looking to sign up in an at-large party for next year, please, feel free to get in touch with SCC. It will be open until March 12th. Does anybody have any questions for me? Feel free to shoot them over. Oh, Savannah, hey.
Hey, so this is actually something that just came to mind, but I remember a long time ago, there was a few people who went and listened to a presentation on an app called Rara. I think that's what it was called, but I just wanted to know if you had an update about that, because I don't think I ever heard anything from that.
Yeah, they hadn't went forward with Rara. I think they also stopped using Remo. I think Remo is the one with the 6 to the table. They stopped using that. Daniel, what was the software that you guys used for the networking event?
AirMeet.
AirMeet. Okay. So
Yeah, that was pretty good. It was like Remo.
Yeah, AirMeet's a really cool platform. Feel free to check it out. I know I think they're going to be utilizing that a little bit more. but they're not using Remo, and I don't think they're using Rara either. Okay, cool. If anybody has any questions for me, feel free to text me, email me, anything. Thank you again, and thank you again for all the birthday wishes. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the next point in the agenda is our budget update. So, Madam Vice President, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Vinny. Hi, everyone. I hope you're all doing well and having a great Monday. Hopefully better than mine. I just dropped a class that's for my major, so that's super great and fun. But this budget update is going to be kind of short and sweet. Unfortunately, I don't have a tangible budget update for you all. I've reached out to SAO a number of times, and they have yet to give me a specific number. But with that being said, they are encouraging any purchase requests that we want to submit. So I do encourage that if you have any initiatives or events that you need funding for, to just email me at my email. I can send it in the chat. It's just at SGFin, or I'll send it to Vinny. But yeah, SAO, the only purchase we have had this semester has been for the plaque proposal that you all had discussed and approved of, which has been approved. And that is now under SAO's control. So I have been asking them for updates about it, but I have yet to hear back as well. But yeah, that's basically it. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Thank you for your time. Yeah.
Senator Zaplensky.
Just to confirm, we can't ask or request for personal scholarships, anything of that sort with the budget?
I'm not entirely sure. I don't know.
No.
Is that?
I believe the funding. Jess, do you want to speak on this?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I might be wrong, but this was kind of the policy last year that the school's very, and maybe Sammy can speak more to this too, but I'm pretty sure the school's very nitpicky about the way that they give money to students. There are certain limitations and stuff about even giving out gift cards. The school sees that as also giving money directly to students, which I don't think is permitted. But that was as far as I know from last year.
Yeah, I haven't encountered any personal funding questions, Evan, but I'll definitely, if you just let me know what your specific question is, then I can definitely get you a specific answer. But from what I know, probably not.
And I have a message from Sammy as well that said the answer is no. And to my knowledge as well, over the last 4 years, I believe the general rule of thumb is anything that is a funding request, it has to somehow benefit the entirety of the university. Sammy, Senator Casas.
Yeah, so anything that is a student government fund is going to fall under the undergraduate student fee, which is specifically allocated for events and club kind of purposes. And so because of that, we couldn't use it for singular student kind of benefits. Basically how it works in BU's accounting and legally when you sign up and pay tuition and all that fun stuff is this budget that goes to SAO and sorry, that's my laundry. SAO products, they have to be spent through SAO on event kind of fun stuff. So yep.
Thanks, Samantha.
All right. Any other questions? All right, awesome. Moving on to our next update, which is the Divest BU endorsement proposal from Divest BU. So Ms. Wetzler, if I pronounced that correctly, the floor is yours. You guys have about 5 minutes to present.
Yes, thank you, Senate Chair. My name is Andrea Wetzler. And Cora?
And my name is Cora Funke.
And we are members from Divest BU, and we are excited to share our endorsement proposal. Do I ask you to click?
Yeah.
Perfect. The climate crisis is not just a problem for BU and Boston at large, but for the entire global community. From global warming to rising sea levels, the fossil fuel industry affects the entire planet, especially those most vulnerable and least responsible for its effects. And as Adil Najam, the Dean of Pardee, said earlier today, it is a vulnerability and a moral failure. Divestment is not the only tool in the wider environmental justice toolkit, but it is an important one that promotes change, particularly through institutions. Next.
So what is divestment? It is directing money away from the fossil fuel industry and reinvesting it into sustainable industries. We want BU to fully divest, not just promise to try, which is what they've been doing so far. BU has greenwashed itself, pretending to be a pioneer of sustainability, when in reality our school is entrenched in problematic systems. Their claims of morality are hypocritical, and at the worst extent, they're deadly. At least 45 institutions of higher education, including many that are significantly larger than BU, have already divested. This proves the feasibility of such a choice. Frankly, it's kind of embarrassing that we're so behind on this issue. Next slide, please. And as unethical as it is, it's also a bad investment to put your money into fossil fuels. These 3 prominent pipelines were recently shut down in part due to ballooning costs. Fossil fuel companies are actively losing billions of dollars each year, and they're only projected to lose more. The industry is becoming too volatile to be argued as a stable investment. Next.
And Divest BU has been fighting this fight for far too long. The ACSRI, or the Advisory Committee for Socially Responsible Investing, developed out of concerns raised by Divest BU. And back in 2019, after Divest BU had submitted our reinvestment proposal, they responded in November by stating that climate change and its effects was, quote, not significant enough to warrant a response before 2021, as they had decided back in 2016, where the climate crisis has only become more and more dire since then. It is irresponsible and it is horrifying from an institution that prides itself on its research, especially after the then StuGov president pledged in 2015, alongside more than 300 other universities, to lead the transition to a low carbon energy future without actually committing to any form of fossil fuel divestment. Most recently, the ACSRI forums from these past 2 weeks and this week to test the water on engagement with divestment have shown a change of action. However, by timing the events at 4 p.m. and only advertising them a week prior, it indicates the lack of priority BU is placing on the climate crisis, which we are very much living in right now. BU must do better. Next slide, please. And so here are our demands. 1, divest all remaining investments in fossil fuel companies.
2, reinvest fossil fuel funds into a fund composed of sectors of the green economy.
3, establish a social impact fund that finances efforts to lend to local communities most impacted by pollution and climate change. Next slide, please.
Here's what we're asking student government to do. Spread our petition, our endorsement graphics, and the word on the March 4th ACSRI forum.
Engage with us on social media at divest_BU.
And join us. Please click one more time. We really hope that, we really hope that this will be you. Thank you.
Thank you both for that presentation. I'm now going to open the floor up to a 10-minute Q&A session. So if anyone has any questions, please raise your hands in the chat and I will call on you. Going once. Going twice. Senator Hagee.
So you mentioned that the BU administration has kind of said that they're in favor of this, but haven't really given any actionable goals. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yes. So BU, I believe it was back in 2016, said that they would try to not invest future investments in tar and coal sand development, but they haven't promised to take away any of the investments that are already in the fossil fuel industry, and that's somewhere in the millions because it's an undisclosed amount due to their lack of transparency. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, and they said try. They didn't
Yeah, they're gonna
actually commit.
I think the word they used was attempt. They never committed. No.
Okay.
Again, avoid. I believe the language was also avoid investing in fossil fuels regarding tar sands and oil. Oil and tar sands, rather.
Yes, thank you, Matt.
Senator Kelly.
Hey, so what are the next steps after this? Like, are you planning on bringing this right to administration after the petition and everything, or is there intermediate steps?
If we can go back to the slide that says our campaign history. So this has been a lot of back and forth between the ACSRI, which is like a subcommittee of the Board of Trustees, and us as a club. And currently the ACSRI is planning on presenting later this semester to the Board of Trustees to try to go forward with divestment. However, they haven't made any of those plans public. They haven't made any of those plans concrete yet. And as of yet, there's been no, the pressure hasn't been built enough onto the ACSRI for the kind of destruction they're complicit in.
Thank you.
So in the future, to next steps as well, we hope to engage with the ACSRI more effectively, and for this to happen, student government would help us in that objective.
Senator Faruqi.
Y'all have any plans to get folks elected to the Board of Trustees from DivestBU?
We currently have a potential plan to have a member of DivestBU become a part of the ACSRI starting next year. But that is still tentative.
But is there, for the board itself, not for the advisory committee, are there any plans? Because I know it's a very opaque process to actually get onto the real board, but is that something that you all have looked into?
We have never looked into having any of us be on the Board of Trustees, considering our more antagonistic stance towards the administration.
Sure, okay.
Point of clarification. Vinny, do you mind addressing Hassan's question? Yeah, this is a conversation the e-board has had with President Brown about, how can we get students onto the Board of Trustees. The reason why there is no students on the Board of Trustees now is because there's not one person on the Board of Trustees that represents anyone else. So it's not like they would get student representation on the Board of Trustees, because it's not like the student body president can represent the students for the Board of Trustees. Everyone there, everyone within the Board of Trustees represents their own opinion. So it's not like you can represent someone from another organization. That's why.
Point of clarification on that.
Yeah.
Can I just can you explain that a little bit more? So is there a plan, or is there conversation of having students on the board, or just because of that, it won't happen?
Yeah, the reason why, I think someone had brought it up to the e-board, back in October, because other universities I think had conversations about that, about having students on their Board of Trustees. And and when we had the conversation with President Brown, the reason why there is no student representation on it is because nobody on the Board of Trustees currently represents someone else other than themselves. I think I don't know the exact term of it, but it's there's two students who are on the ACSRI, and they represent the student, the students as a whole. But the Board of Trustees, I think everyone just represents themselves. They don't represent an organization or student or student body. I can get more clarification for that.
All right. Thank you. All right, going to go back to Senator Faruqi.
Yeah, I know that Harvard did something Harvard is a petition process to get onto to get elected, but I know that they pursued divestment for several options with trying to get recent alumni elected to the board. So I just wanted to throw the idea out there if you all had considered it, and if not, then I'm more than happy to work with you on that.
Thank you, Senator. That's definitely something we haven't touched upon yet in one of our meetings, but I think that's definitely something to think about going forward.
Any additional questions? Going once, going twice. All right, and with that, I'm going to elapse the Q&A time and open the floor to any points or motions. Senator Toplinsky.
Motion to move into a 10-minute discussion with 1 minute speaking time.
Can I make a motion? Point of information, that was.
I think because I heard a second, it has to be put up to a vote. If anyone from judicial wishes to correct me on this, please go right ahead.
Point of clarification. May I because it will inevitably get downshot, can Shayna just like say what her motion would be, just so like we don't have to shoot it down?
All right, Senator Evans.
I was going to motion to move into voting procedure.
Motion to move into voting procedure also does supersede anyway. So is there a second on this?
Second.
All right, so with the second move into voting procedure, please raise your hands if you're voting in the affirmative in the chat. Looking for a 2/3 supermajority here. Again, with 41, you're looking for 28 votes. All right, Mr. Vice Chair, do you have a supermajority?
I have a supermajority.
All right, with that, the motion passes. We are now in voting procedure. I will lower everyone's hands. And again, open the floor to any points or motions.
Motion to vote on Senate Resolution 17.
Second.
All right. Motion is to vote. Looking for a simple majority now. Everyone, please raise your hands in the chat if you're wishing to vote in the affirmative. I don't know who put a heart, but if you are a senator, hearts do not count as a raised hand. Mr. Vice Chair, do you have a simple majority?
Yes, I have a simple majority.
All right, so with that, the motion passes. Mr. Vice Chair, if you could please send the voting form into the Slack, just so you all know, I do not have a solution based on the issue from Turning Tech from last meeting, so we are going to continue using the voting form for this meeting. Anyone who does not have access to the voting form, please private message me and I will send it to you.
Mr. Chairman, you're going to have to put it in the Slack. My internet has decided to stage a coup.
Understood. The voting form is now in the Slack. I will give you guys a minute and a half for voting. Senator Brockridge, did you have a question?
No, my laptop is just not working with me right now, so it's glitching. Apologize.
No worries. We love technology. It's great when it works, but the couple times it doesn't. Very inconvenient. All right, you guys got about 40 seconds left on the voting form. Ten seconds. All right, I'm going to close the voting form now. And with 33 votes in the affirmative, congratulations, the resolution passes. All right, thank you all for coming in, everyone from Divest BU. And then as always, moving on to our last point in the agenda, open forum.
May I speak, Mr. Chairman?
Go right ahead.
Yeah. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I just have some quick updates about elections. As Oliver mentioned, we were extending the intent form only for Senate at large. We didn't get the registration we'd hoped for. It's the same link as before, which I'll send to Vinny. If you have any questions about that, you can email us. The link is also up on our website. We're encouraging everyone who's interested to register. Just so we can have as many students' voices represented in next year's Senate as possible. Additionally, we just got clearance from SAO for an in-person event this week. It's going to be blowing up your social medias tomorrow, I'm sure. We're trying to do the meet and greet in a COVID-safe way at the BU Beach with capacity limits. You'll need to register to meet the candidates on a Google form, which I'll also send to Senate Chair. We hope to see you there. It's going to be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And if you have any questions, I mean, we can talk about it now or after the meeting, or you can hit me up in the Slack or over email. Thank you.
Senator Toplinsky.
Can you say the slates running by possible?
Yeah, so it's slate singular, Be United, which I believe the presidential candidate is Nia Jordan. So they officially launched their campaign today, and we'll have more content coming up this week, so you guys can get to know them. And the point of the event is for the students to sort of meet the candidates and talk about policies and their vision for student government.
Anything else that people wish to bring up during open forum today? Senator Faruqi.
If you're a lead senator, just as a reminder, if you could please respond to the Rules Committee about any input or feedback that you have for our constitutional amendments package. If you're not a lead senator and you'd still like to be involved in the process, or you'd like to get, a look at the constitutional amendments package before we bring it to the floor, just let me know and we'd be happy to do that.
Well, I have one more update.
Right.
I'm so sorry.
Go right ahead.
This update is from Sumya. So there's a Google form for Underrepresented Students Week. It's a working title, so it'd be great if, I'm going to put this in the chat for Vinny, if people who would like to get involved and would like to help with the naming process and the events you would like to see, we would like to make this as inclusive as possible. Our Sumya, our director of social advocacy, is leading this. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to her. Thank you.
Any additional points? If not, I will open the floor to any points or motions. Senator Toplinsky.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, looking for a supermajority here. Raise your hands in the chat if you're wishing to vote in the affirmative. Mr. Vice Chair, do you have a supermajority? I think his internet's still calling.
Zoom kicked me out and I'm on my phone and I can't see anything.
Well, with 36 votes in the affirmative, this meeting is officially adjourned then. Thank you all for coming. Have a great evening, have a great week, and I will see you all next week.
John Michael, stay on.